want to share with you my journey to the 2018 PyeongChang Olympics. I'm going to show you some photos and videos, but I want to tell you stories. Stories of athletes, particularly Paralympians, and then some stories of behind-the-scenes stuff that happened at my work. My journey started 30 years ago when Korea announced that it would host its first Summer Olympics in 1988. And when I heard that, I wanted to go. I wanted to go and contribute to my birth country, South Korea. But I had just gotten into business school, and do I delay for another year? Wasn't sure. So anyway, 30 years went by, 28 years. And when I heard about 2 years ago that Korea would be hosting its second Olympics, but this time Winter Olympics, I knew I had to go. I mean, there was nothing more on this earth that I wanted to do, because I wanted to go and serve, and I wanted to go and promote Korea. The challenge was, I didn't know how to do it. I mean, there isn't like a website you go and say, okay, anybody want to work for us? So for about a year, I talked to anybody and everybody who had anything to do with the Olympics. And I still wasn't getting anywhere. And this is where my friends came in. My friend Renette, she's not here with us today, but she became my coach and my strategist. And she would say, well, Susan, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And come in, Marcy, Duncan, yay! And so she and I worked together, and we still weren't making progress. And then she said, wait a minute, maybe we're doing this all wrong. Instead of trying to contact the PyeongChang Korean Olympic Committee, why don't you just go straight to NBC Olympics? It's like, wow, that's a novel idea. I hadn't thought about that. Then we said, well, so, like, how do we do that? and she's like, okay, let's go to LinkedIn. So I became very proficient in LinkedIn and literally, like, Googled everybody, not Google, LinkedIn, everybody. But, you know, they don't answer you when you send messages on LinkedIn. So then, well, Lisa Molansky. Lisa used to be the sports announcer for NBC affiliate. And we ran into each other at Houstonian, and I don't know what we were talking about, but all of a sudden she said something, and I said, wait a minute, and I told you what I wanted to do, and she says, well, I know the executive producer of NBC Olympics in New York. That was a magical moment, yeah. So while this was going on, I have a very good friend in Korea, and me, and the former Consul General of Houston, Ambassador Park. They both sent me a link, and they said, well, have you considered the volunteer route? Well, that's not a bad idea either. I just wanted to go. I mean, they didn't even have to pay me. I just wanted to go. I said, okay, so let's try that. Do you know how hard it is to be a volunteer? I had no idea. First, you have to fill out all these written questionnaire. Then you have to do a Skype interview, and the Skype interview. So I'm sitting, waiting in front of my computer, and ready to be interviewed on Skype. And they said, make sure you do this 45 minutes before your due time. So I'm waiting. Mr. Bill White, come on in. And meanwhile, my friend John Hyun is texting me. He's like, are you on yet? John, where are you? John, his daytime job is a radiologist. He's actually a doctor. And his nighttime job is my IT support. And he's texting me. He's like, are you on? I said, John, I've been sitting here for 45 minutes and the screen is blank. So then he says, well, have you tried pushing this button? So I push this button and boom, this face comes on. I was like, hello? And I said, well, so where are the other 3 people? Because it was supposed to be a 4-person interview. And they said, well, they're not here. They're not here. It's just you today. And I thought, they didn't have John. They didn't know what to push. So thank you, John, for helping me over many, many little hurdles like that. And then, let's see. Oh, So Andrew and Bill White, they were my early supporters, just cheering me on. And Bill, you just walked right on time. Thank you for your letter of recommendation. And then, last but not least, where is my husband, Michael Jin? Michael has been my greatest and the best cheerleader, supporting me from the moment I wanted to do this till now. And I think while I was gone for a few months, he had more takeout Chinese food than he would ever have the rest of his life. So thank you, Michael. Before I start the slideshow, there were two angels that I just have to tell you about. One person, Judy, are you in? Yes, Judy. Judy prayed with me, and when we prayed, she said, I want you to empty yourself. I didn't know what that meant. So I prayed some more, and I took that as let go of my own expectation, let go of my pride, and have humility. Okay. It's actually, I said that's good. I didn't really know what it meant till I got there. And then the second person is my friend in Korea and me. And she says, you can have a really important job. And if you do, I will be by you, stand by you. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The placement that I got was to be an interpreter at the International Broadcasting Center. So like, wow, it sounds pretty good on paper, right? And I was very excited. So Umi says, if you have a very important position, placement, don't worry, I will stand by you, and you can call me 24/7, and I will even come up. And the reason why I was nervous was my Korean is proficient, but it's not perfect. And so I said, what if they ask me for technical stuff? Like, what do I do? So I was starting to study Korean. She's like, don't worry, just chill. And then she said, but if you get a not so important placement, don't fret it. During your downtime, look around and see who needs help. She says, life is like flowing down the river. Don't fight upstream. And so her advice was just go with the flow. Those two advices where they set my mind, my heart, and my perspective. And it made all the difference in my journey. Okay. Should I continue to use the mic? Is that okay? All right, here we go. I packed my suitcase, I'm ready to go, and off I go. Is that pretty cool? Yeah, Renette helped me do that. She was so happy. She figured out how to do that. So just to give you a bearing where Korea is, Japan, and China. When I landed at Incheon Airport, by the way, this is an ice sculpture in the airport. It was minus 19 degrees. It was the coldest it's ever been in the history of Incheon, Korea. And so I thought, oh gosh, what have I done? Did I pack enough long johns? I mean, I'm just, I'm from the South. I'm from Houston. And I borrowed all these ski clothes from Renette. So let's see. To give you an orientation of Korea, here's Korea. I landed at Incheon, Seoul, it's about an hour long distance. These red squares are the venues. Okay, this one. The blue dots are where the Olympic venues are. So here was the headquarters, so to speak, the broadcasting centers. And this is where they did snowboarding, some ski jumps. This circle here are the indoor facilities like ice skating and figure skating. This is about an hour from here to here. There were 22,000 volunteers, of which 1,200 were overseas international, and I was one of them. So you take that many volunteers, and then you add the real star, the athletes and their coaches, and then you add the staff who's been there for 2 to 3 years, and then the IOC, the International Olympic Committee VIPs. You have 60,000 people at one point, and there was not enough housing. So the volunteers, we stayed somewhere over, we're not even on the map. It's my bus stop. This is a youth hostel where we stayed up in the mountains. And you know what? It was modest accommodation, but I was grateful. We were given housing. We were given 3 meals a day. Our transportation was provided. I mean, like, it's a pretty good vacation, you know? Can't complain. And then I learned that at Rio and some of the other Olympics, volunteers had to pay their own accommodation. So compared to that, I can't complain. Okay, this one, this is the room that we stayed in. There are 4 of us in the room, and we have the traditional Korean way of sleeping on the floor on futons. And you might be thinking, oh, that does not look too comfortable. Well, actually, it was. And the reason why it was, in Korea, the heating system is different. There's no central heating. They heat the floors. So when the floors are warm and you lie down, you fall asleep like that. It actually reminded me of my childhood, and I kind of enjoyed it. My husband says, Susan, this is a golden opportunity. You need to share about Korean culture. So here it is. You know, we have central air here, correct? Well, in many of the homes in Korea, and particularly the older homes, well, they're not older, they're traditional homes called hanok. And these homes, the heating system is different. They heat, well, you'll see in the next slide. Let me show you. Pay attention to down here. And this is how hanok homes are heated. You create fire with some wood or coal, and then the heat travels underneath the floor, and when you're ready to go to bed, your floor is nice and toasty. And then about 2 a.m. it gets kind of hot, and then in the morning when you have to wake up, it's freezing, so you better get up. It's very nice, natural way to handle the body, you know, and then the heat goes up here. Did you all know that before? Thank you, Michael. They are my roommates. They are college and recent grads. Gosh, do they have energy. They could stay up all night, talk, and it was fun, by the way. And then at 4:45, one of the alarms would go off. And we all took turns taking the 5:45 bus, and the next day, the same thing over and over, and I thought, really, this is interesting. But you know, after all, I felt like I was back in college, so it was good. This is where I worked. International Broadcast Center, IBC. Darn it. Okay. Pay particular attention to these windows up here, because that's where NBC had their studios. And then the story that I'm going to tell you shortly is about these windows. Security was tight, which was good. OBS is Olympic Broadcasting Service, their room. Okay, anyone recognize this room?
Where some of the interviews took place.
Huh? What?
Where some of the interviews took place.
Exactly. This is the NBC studio. Did you know that everything you see in that room was brought over by NBC in the US, and they shipped it to Korea? Deep pockets. This is Mr. Jim Bell, the executive producer I told you about. Real nice guy. And this is NBC break room. Do you recognize, okay. I am learning how to do this. Do you recognize Chloe Kim, Shaun White, Lindsey Hahn? Yep. So they were the hopefuls, and they all did very well. Okay, So here goes my story. First day, we show up for work, and all these people are fellow volunteers. And all of us are assigned to the broadcasting center. These guys are smart. They spoke perfect English, perfect Korean, perfect few other languages, and I'm like, yikes. And so this guy in the middle, he is assigning placements. Okay, he'll call your name. So you are going to be in social media. And they're like, the guy's like, yes. And then you are going to some broadcasting center, yes. And then he would say your name, Lisa Milwaukee, and he would say, so you're going to be in the laundry services. And the student's like, oh my gosh, like, what did she do? And then pink sign, you're going to be in the post office as an interpreter, mind you. And then Gwen and Bert, you're both going to man the massage room. I mean, these placements were like random. And so we're going, oh gosh, I hope I did a good one. And so after all the roll call, there was myself and 3 other students, and she's like, sir, you didn't call her name. And he's like, talk to me. So later came and we said, you didn't call her name. And he said, I'll text you by midnight. So this is when I said, okay, go with the flow, come on, say, no expectation. Like all those, advice just kind of floated through my head. And surprisingly, I wasn't that upset. I said, okay, I'll just go home and show up tomorrow. So, come tomorrow, I show up. I go back to that guy and I said, here I am, what's my placement? And he goes, like, over there. It's like, okay, so I go over there and the gentleman is very happy to see me. He's like, we don't have anyone who speaks English in our department. We're just so happy to help you. Come with us right now. I need your help to interpret in this meeting. Okay. So I follow him. And the meeting had OBS, Olympic Broadcasting Services people on the left, Korean housekeeping staff on the right. And there is tension in the room. And they are getting upset at each other. And they're making certain demands. And the OBS people are saying, but we need this done now. And Korean staff are saying, but we already did it. And this guy says, but we need it done now. And after like 3 times of interpreting, I was like, whoa, wait, I'm just saying the same thing over and over. And I realized there's no progress here. So I said, okay. I took off my interpreter's hat. I turned to OBS. And because they were getting literally upset, like emotions were rising. I said, sir, we understand. Oh, I forgot to tell you what the issue was. The issue was over window cleaning. So I said, sir, we understand you need the windows cleaned. It is very important to you. We will do everything we can to help you. The Korean side meant to say that, but they just didn't say it. And I said, is there anything you could do? I mean, they need these windows cleaned. And they're like, but do you want us to hang outside? They were having their reasons, justifiable reasons, yes. So, let me see. Let me show you. This is OBS on the left, and then the Korean housekeeping staff. This is, we were just going over their work schedule, but these are the windows we're talking about. This is NBC studio, the other side of that room you saw. And Korean housekeeping staff said, we cleaned these windows inside like 5 times. And OBS says, no, we need the outside clean. This is on the 5th floor. And so they're both going at it, and like no one is compromising, just emotion. And I'm like, wait, I'm at the Olympics and they're fighting? This is like big TV sitcom, big TV because it's the Olympics, but comedy, it wasn't funny, like I don't do windows. And I thought, oh, so what happened was I explained to the Korean side, you know, they pay big bucks to be on this floor. Is there any way that we can have this outside windows clean? Long and short, they found a resolution and they hired a third-party window cleaner to come and set up the scaffolding and all the stuff that they do to clean these windows. Because you can imagine for NBC, they need to show those pretty vistas in the back. You know that was part of the deal. What happened was, when the contract was set up 6-8 years ago when Korea agreed to host, the contract was so vague. It just said we will provide housekeeping services. It didn't say we were going to do windows inside, outside. It didn't say we were going to vacuum how many times a day. It didn't say a lot of things that needed to be said. It was just, we will provide housekeeping. And these poor housekeepers showed up and they're like, what do you want us to do? I mean, it was ridiculous. But what I learned from all that exchange was that interpreting wasn't about interpreting words, but it was about interpreting feelings, communicating the objectives and intentions on both sides, and then making sure that they understood what their limitations were, and then try to push people towards resolution. So that's what we did almost every day. Let's see what the next slide is. See, you guys appreciate those windows and you have no idea.
Did the windows get clean?
I'm sorry?
Third party.
So they hired a third party.
Did they do a good job?
The windows got cleaned. Of course, they had to negotiate who was going to pay what percentage. I mean, that was the whole around. Exactly. Thank you. Okay. This is a view. Let's see. IBC, where I was working, is like over here. So you know, these slopes are very pretty. These kinds of miscommunications and conflicting expectations, whether they were windows, whether it was toilets getting clogged, whether there was a leak. Actually, the biggest issue was they were going to tear down the IBC building at the end, and who was going to pay to haul them away? I mean, how could you not negotiate those things? But they really weren't negotiated to detail. So that was sort of a daily, weekly challenge. In looking back, I think these things happened at all the previous Olympics, Rio, Sochi, you name it, and I bet it happened in Tokyo in 2 years and Beijing in 4 years. And I just hope that somebody can figure out how to write those contracts, because it's going to happen over and over. Do you see the stuff, how it's floating nicely and calmly and peacefully? Well, that's what you all saw. The world saw Olympics. There were no terrorists. North and South Korean athletes walked in together during the opening event. Controversial, but they did it. All the events went well. So the world saw this stuff, the Olympic machine just floating very nicely. And they should. It was meant to be that way. But this is what the duck was doing behind the scenes. We were frantically doing this to hold up the machine so that things would go smoothly. And I think it did. This is the last slide about my work. This is our team. The two gentlemen are the Korean managers. The students were, we were all interpreters together for the same department. And after that incident with the windows, there were like about 10 different male managers. They kept saying, I'm treating Susan Jin to dinner tonight. The joke was we all ate at the same mess hall, so they came for my meal, but I think they were appreciative that I was helping them and advocating for them. And then for me, one of the biggest compliment was OBS side, the gentleman that you saw. He said, if you ever want to work for us, come see us. And I'm thinking, me what, to clean windows? So all I said was, can I just have an OBS pin? And he gave me a pin. Okay. All right, so let's see some fun stuff here. I'm going to show you a quick video. I'd like you to see if there's anything unusual. Who saw anything unusual? Knitting? Knitting? Okay. Very good. The person on the right is a coach, and she was knitting. I'm going to show you one more time. When this was aired, everybody was saying, who is she? What is she doing up there? Why is she knitting? We had no clue what she was doing while she was there. In fact, I remember Kathy's like, what is she doing, right? You were kind of appalled. We didn't understand. So the Korean media got hold of this and they started doing their research. I did my research and I found out that knitting in Denmark and in Finland is a form of stress release. In fact, the Finland coach is on YouTube and he explains while he's knitting. He says, you know, when you knit, it's a repetitive action and it calms my mind and it gives me mental clarity. And so as he's talking, he's knitting this Olympic scarf. And then he says, so when we have our team meetings, everybody sits around and knits together, all the athletes. And the coach and I thought that was really interesting. Who here knits? Is that true? Is it that calming? Yes, okay. That's pretty cool, you know, whatever you can do to relieve your stress. How to pronounce the host city's name was a big deal. Who would say that that is called PyeongChang? 2, 3. Who would call it PyeongChang? Well, wait a minute, there's only 2 ways to pronounce it. It's either PyeongChang or PyeongChang. Well, what happened was I was getting emails, phone calls, texts from my Korean American friends in Los Angeles saying, Susan, I want you to go to NBC and tell them they're pronouncing the host city name wrong. Go tell them. And she was furious. And there were YouTube videos of people saying, this is how you pronounce the name. What was happening was that NBC was pronouncing it as PyeongChang, and Koreans, the local pronunciation is PyeongChang. Can you hear the difference? So I go up to Jim Bell, and I'm saying, a lot of people are really upset. Could you guys do something about this? Well, it turns out that not only were his hands tied, but about several months ago, the very top guy at NBC Olympics wanted a uniform way for all the announcers to say the same way. And so they chose PyeongChang. I can understand, you know, P.F. Chang. I mean, it's just an American pronunciation. And it's like potato and potato. We say it differently, but this is a name. This is your city. And it's like if I tell you my name is Frank and you keep calling me Frank, it's annoying after a while, you know? It's like, do you not respect me? My name is Frank. And then you say Frank, and we go back and forth. And so that was what was happening, is Americans would say PyeongChang, and Koreans said, no, it's PyeongChang, and blah, blah, blah. And so, well, interestingly enough, NPR was pronouncing it as PyeongChang. Good old NPR. So, you can form your own judgments about that, right? Okay, so on my day off, I went hiking, climbing, and I climbed Mount Sorak. Sorak-san, for those of you who are Korean, it's a very iconic, beautiful mountain. And I want you to look at this space. Do you see like a black hole up here? That is a cave. So it took a few hours to climb. I didn't think I would make it, but we did. You wouldn't believe what I saw in that cave. I saw the most amazing, unexpected, extraordinary thing. I'm not even going to ask you what you think, because this is what I saw. A Buddhist monk set up an area, and there's a room sort of behind here, a prayer area. You can pray. This monk was giving hospitality. He was receiving guests, hikers like myself, weary, tired, needed water. So there was water right here from the mountains, spring water, and you can sit there and look at the vistas. I mean, it was incredible in a cave. Who would have thought? Well, the next part's even better. So I said, hi, I'm in Korean. I said, I'm Susan, and I'm from Houston, and blah, 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 and I'm here to volunteer. And he says, Houston? Houston Astros did really well in the World Series, and LA not so good. Then he said, I'm an Astros fan. And all I can think about was, where is Barbara Moon? Where is she? Where are you, Barbara? Barbara is the Astros fan of the century. Barbara and her husband, they go to every single game. I kid you not. Am I right? They even go to away games. So I tell this story. I'm writing an email to my husband and my family and free friends and saying, you won't believe what I saw. And Michael Jin got more excited than me, and he wrote a letter to Jim Crane at Astros. And he said, Jim, you won't believe what Susan just da-da-da-da. I think you should fly this monk to Houston because this monk could really help you win the next World Series. Do they work?
I went for a picture instead.
I've cut my presentation in half. The first part is the Olympics, and then the second part is Paralympics. Paralympics is really what touched me, what was meaningful, what transformed me, and so you can't leave yet, but we're going to take a 5-minute break, restroom break. Don't go yet. So I just kind of telling you that though. Oh, this is Mr. Monk, yes. So it takes a few hours to climb up, and look at his knee wrap. He does this every day. He was fit. Okay, so before we take the break, I want to tell you, I did some reflection, and I said, so what was this journey all about for me? And the first thing that came to my head was, just do it. A veteran volunteer told me early on when we were at orientation, she says, if you notice anything that needs to be done, don't wait for approval or just do it, because you'll lose the opportunity. And there are many, many times when things just have to get done. Just do it. So the thing about the interpreting thing, I just did it. And I was placed as an interpreter, but in some ways I played a mediator's role. I just did it, and I think it helped them. Go with the flow. Like, who likes a 2-hour bus ride every day both ways? I mean, I get car sick, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? But in those long bus rides, because we all commiserated together, we bonded, and I've formed some lifelong connections and friends. And I know that we will stay together because of those long bus rides. My work, yeah, I would like to have been in DC like everybody else. But I think I was meant to be there to support the building services and housekeeping staff, because they had no voice, they had no power, but they did all the work. And so it was just supporting those people to make sure they could do the work but weren't taken advantage of. It was very gratifying. And lastly, empty yourself. It really was all about letting go of my own pride and my expectation. And Judy, she puts it so well. And it's so that, now I'm going to go out on the limb here a little bit, but it's so that God could fill me with His plan, which was far greater and more glorious than what I could imagine. So that was my personal take home. We are going to take a 5-minute break and come back for our Paralympics.